الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله وما توفيقي ولا اعتصامي إلا بالله عليه توكلت وعليه فليتوكل المؤمنون وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن سيدنا وسندنا ومولانا محمدا عبده وحبيبه ورسوله أرسله الله تبارك وتعالى لدين الحق وإلى دين كله ولو كره الكافرون صلاة وسلاما دائمين متلازمين عليك سيدي يا رسول الله أما بعد فيا عباد الله أوصيكم ونفسي الخاطئة بتقوى الله وطاعته إن الله مع الذين اتقوا والذين هم محسنون. يقول تبارك وتعالى في كتابه العزيز بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. ويقول المصطفى صلى الله عليه وسلم في أحد من أحاديثه أوله رحمة، حينما يتكلم عن فضائل شهر رمضان يقول أوله رحمة وأوسطه مغفرة وآخره عتق من النار. صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين. Dear brothers and sisters, wherever you may be, I salute you with the greetings of peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And I pray that you're all safe, and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward every single one of you and to accept the efforts of every single one of you during this blessed day of Friday. Today, I want to talk to you about some practical steps of getting ready for the blessed and sacred month of Ramadan. As you know, today is April 17th, and we have only 1 week left for the coming of the blessed month of Ramadan. To be honest, 1 week is not much for us to get ready. We should have started the preparation before this one. But I'm aware that a lot of you have done that already. And some who are not able to do so, inshallah, they will still benefit during this week right before starting the month of Ramadan. When I say benefit, I mean they will benefit from some instructions on how to get ready during this short period of time, so when Ramadan comes, it finds us ready. In other words, we are ready to engage with prayers, we are ready to engage with fasting, we are ready physically and also morally and also spiritually. These are 3 different dimensions that would require us to be ready for the coming of the month of Ramadan. Let me mention to you a verse which is very famous and a lot of people are aware of this one. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, in the name of Allah, the most merciful, the beneficent. O you who believe, fasting is prescribed for you. In other words, it is made obligatory upon you, as it was made obligatory to those before you, in order for you to attain righteousness. As you can see from the beginning of this verse, we see how God is starting with the words, O you who believe. And He doesn't say, O you people, because people, there are Muslims, there are non-Muslims, they belong to different faiths, they don't believe in God, they believe in God, whatever the case may be. There is a special call for special people. O you who believe is referring to Muslim believers. Fasting is prescribed upon you, or is made obligatory upon you. It's a must. This rules out that fasting is not something good to do, or something that if we want to do it, we can do it, and if not, we don't have to do it. But this is a must. And I say this knowing that most of the people understand this. But yet there are some individuals out there that think that, oh, Muslims, they just do that. They're Muslims, right? They're Muslims to begin with. But they don't know the importance of fasting, and they don't know whether it is an obligation or is it something that just Muslims do. No, it is an obligation. Whether you are a good practicing Muslim or a weak practicing Muslim, or you simply believe in God but you don't necessarily practice at all, remember that fasting is an obligation upon you as well. God has prescribed this for you. So fasting is a must for the believers, as it was an obligation to those nations who were before you. And here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is referring to those religions, the revelation that came to the prophets before Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu salam, and they also had to fast, maybe in different ways, but fasting was mandatory upon them as well. Now, as we are reading this verse, as we're coming across these words, like fasting was made an obligation to those nations before you, a Muslim understands that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is listing the nations before us in order for us to know that this is an essential part of all the religions. Just like prayer. We Muslims pray, so do Jews, Jewish people, so do Christians. In other words, this was an essential part of revelation, as an essential part of the practice, of the religious practice. And you can see here that these essential acts of worship we all share together. This is all a manifestation that the message that came to Moses, the message that came to Jesus, the message that came to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is from the same Lord. And particularly when you see these essentials to be the same in all of these divine religions or divine revelations. Alright, so let's move on. We understand so far two things: that it is an honor for the believers to enjoy the fasting of the month of Ramadan. We also understand how it was essential in the previous religions. The third part, or the third component of this ayah, is the end of it, which is really amazing. And at the end of the verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us the reason why fasting was made obligatory upon us. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, in order for you to attain righteousness. So in other words, he is telling us that fasting is something that will lead you to righteousness. So fasting is not everything, but it will lead you to the ultimate goal. And the ultimate goal, an essential goal, is for the individual to reach righteousness. Prayer, similarly, in order for the human, the person practices prayer, the believer prays 5 times a day, and the Jummah and all the other prayers, in order for what? In order for that person to attain righteousness. A person gives zakat. Zakat is not the beginning and the end. Zakat is the beginning, but it leads the person again to where? To righteousness. Similarly with Hajj. Hajj, you perform Hajj, you get engaged with all the acts of worship during that Hajj and all that, and at the end, it is made for you obligatory in order for you also to attain or reach righteousness. So the goal is righteousness. However, all of these acts, including the fasting, are all important components that a person trains himself or herself to reach righteousness. So it's a training, but the stop is, the end is righteousness. And I'm not saying righteousness in the end of the life, like we keep practicing all of this, so before we die we reach righteousness. I'm not talking about that kind of an idea. But I'm talking about as we do this, this will lead us to righteousness. So righteousness, as a matter of fact, has to be with us in all the different phases in our lives. When we're young, when we get older, even before we pass away, we should be in that state of righteousness. But again, that state is reached through you and me performing these acts of worship. I think this is clear so far. Let's move on and talk a little bit about fasting and how to get ready for this fasting after we understand the importance of fasting. Let me also elaborate for you a hadith of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam where he says, "As-siyamu junnah." Fasting is protection. Fasting is a shield, as a matter of fact. So I understand that by fasting, I'm going to be away from lying. I'm going to be away from stealing. I'm going to be away from harming the others. I'm going to be away from entertaining my nafs, my carnal self. I'm going to be strict. I'm going to discipline myself. So I'm not going to fall a victim of the dunya, of this materialistic world. I'm not going to fall a victim of certain individuals out there who are evil people. I'm not going to fall a victim of devil. I'm not going to fall a victim of my nafs either, of my carnal desire and self. My carnal self, during a moment throughout the day, will say, well, you need to drink, you're so thirsty. Then what? You are restricting yourself. So it becomes fasting in that case, it becomes a junnah. Junnah, again, it means a shield, a protective shield from all of these things that will harm you or can harm you. Maybe not necessarily food or drink, because we don't think that food or drink can harm you unless you consume things that are prohibited. But at that time, when a body needs to pay attention or to prioritize spirituality, food drops and drink drops and intimate relations, they drop as well. I don't know if I'm able to explain it right and for everybody to understand this, but this is one of the key components right here. Food, because somebody can ask, well, let's fast, but let's not cut the water, let's not cut the food, and instead of eating as we normally eat, let's just cut it in half. And there are some kinds of fasting out there like this, whether for medical purposes or mandated by their, traditions. But here, in our religion, fasting, staying away completely from food and drink, beside many lessons that we can learn from it, I just want to mention to you today only one, which is very important. And that is when the body knows and gives up the request for water and for food, drops this wish of attaining that, what happens? Your inner component, which is your spirituality, takes over at that point. See, I want you to imagine yourself as a creature, as a being that is made of these two components, the spiritual or the physic and the metaphysic. The physical, which is your body, and your carnal self, eating and drinking and wanting to do this and that, and also you have that spiritual part, which most of the religions they would agree with, and this is the case in Islam as well. So when you're giving up that, it's very hard. What I'm saying is, it's very hard for you to focus on spirituality, and yet at the same time to focus on your physical world as well, to your metaphysical world and the physical world. Like, for example, you cannot be eating and at the same time focusing on your prayer. You cannot be eating and at the same time contemplating about certain verses of the Quran. I'm not saying here that it's completely impossible. There is probably a certain level here, but generally speaking, it's just impossible to really reflect and to focus so much while you're eating or while you're doing something that is related to this world. So when that is completely disconnected, then spirituality takes over and you start growing and growing and growing. So it is as saying, you know what, let's take a break from this dunya, let's take a break from this physical world. Again, it's not a complete break, because we don't fast for 30 days without eating and drinking at all, but we fast from the morning all the way to sunset, from the dawn time all the way to sunset. That's the period of time when we fast, and then after that we continue eating and drinking because our body has also rights upon us. But when we dedicate these 30 days through a specific time every day, then we are during that time prioritizing, which is most of the time as a matter of fact, because right now we have about 17 hours or so of fasting, so we are prioritizing our spirituality. So we become, during those hours of fasting, we become more spiritual being, even though we are for sure physical being as well, but since our spirituality is taking over, then we are becoming, we are enwrapped with angelic qualities. And I'm saying that because angels are known to be closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So us as well, when we are enwrapped with those qualities of angels, we are also getting closer to our Creator. So this is a very important component, as I said earlier. Now, in the future, inshallah, next Friday, I'm going to go over some other dimensions of fasting. We'll get more into the spiritual aspects of fasting and what are we trying to achieve with fasting and how do we make outmost of fasting. That's what we're going to focus and during the month of Ramadan as well. But today, as I said earlier, I'm going to focus on some practical steps on how to get ready for this blessed month. Well, first thing that I want to mention is restrict yourself from excessive eating and drinking. Because of their excessive eating, many gain weights during this month instead of losing weight. Especially nowadays, that many of us, we are sitting in our houses and the physical activities are really limited. What do? We can eat. And this is the time when we need to eat less. And I'm talking about those who are at home most of the time. Those who don't have much physical activity. If you normally ate a full meal, now you need to start cutting that in half or reduce that as much as possible. Ramadan. Now we're talking about Ramadan. Many people gain weight. Why? Because instead of eating normal 3 meals, for example, and getting, let's say, 2,000 calories, a person would get 1,500 calories during breakfast, like during suhoor time, and 1,500 calories during the iftar time, when we break the fasting. So the person would eat a lot. Why? Because there's the idea that, I need to eat a lot so I can survive the day. You will survive the day even if you eat little. And when the time of iftar comes, there is that idea in mind that says, wow, you just fasted all day. You were 17 hours or 18 hours without any food. So here's now your chance to go ahead and, dive deep into it and start eating and eating because you deserve that kind of, you didn't eat all day. And that is very dangerous right there. It's dangerous for your health, and it is also something that defeats. It's an act that defeats the fasting. It really defeats it. It defeats the purpose. So eat less during suhoor time and also eat less during iftar time. Eating less doesn't mean that you're not sitting at home with your relatives, with your family, and enjoying a good iftar or a good suhoor. That is a purpose, as a matter of fact, of fasting to get us closer to each other, for sure. But control the portions that we are eating. I'm saying we, I'm including myself as well here. Alright, let's go to another point which is very important, practical step for us to get ready when the fasting comes. It is for us to be generous during the month of Ramadan. We know that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ كان أجود الناس وكان أجود ما يكون في رمضان. There is a narration that says that Prophet ﷺ was the best in expressing his character, was the best of the people. and he was the best of what he could be during the month of Ramadan. So what is you as an individual being good? That means that you're also giving. It is the month of giving, Ramadan. So that is a part of that being the best. And Prophet ﷺ used to give, and the companions used to give more during this month of Ramadan. And I understand that we are, really, many of us were suffering from, from this virus that is out there. A lot of resources are getting dry. A lot of people, they lost their jobs. Over 20 million here in America in the last few months, they just lost their jobs and they have no jobs. I understand, and many Muslims among these 20 millions are in those shoes as well. I wanna remind you one thing. Give when you don't have. Give when you don't have. I'm not saying give everything that you have, even though somebody can do it too. We have examples of Sayyidina Abu Bakr and so many. But I'm not advising you, because we live in different times, different places, So I'm saying give, even if it's little. Give during the month of Ramadan. Keep giving, even when you don't have, in particularly those who don't have, in particularly those who are out of job. Why? Because we strongly believe in the hadith of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam that says that the wealth of the believer will not get decreased because of giving. I repeat it again. The wealth of the believer will not decrease because of giving. As a matter of fact, we know that it will increase. The opposite will happen. Because when you give $1 for the sake of God, helping the poor, helping your local mosque, helping your local institution, helping any charitable cause, any good cause that serves the human being, in reality, God is giving you 10 times the amount of what you have given, and that amount can be multiplied to hundreds and hundreds, and only God knows how much the value of what He is giving back will be, of what He is giving back to you. So again, don't be afraid. Shaitan, as a matter of fact, is the one who tells you, who whispers in your brain that you, by giving, particularly during the time of need, you're going to get, your wealth is going to dry up. No, it's going to increase, as a matter of fact. That's why I'm emphasizing and saying, give, especially when you are in need of yourself, in need yourself. So give during that time, it's better. كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في أحد من أحاديثه خير الأعمال إلى الله أدومها وإن قل. The best deeds, there's a hadith of Nabi عليه الصلاة والسلام that says the best deeds are those that are performed constantly, even though they may be little in amount. For example, somebody is given every Friday $5. It's not much, but has made that to himself or herself as a custom. He or she has accustomed himself or herself by giving every single Friday. And this time of isolation, this physical distancing, it's not mattering for these people. Why? Because there are other ways of giving this. And I strongly encourage every one of you to give. In our website, United Islamic Center of Arizona, we have, just search United Islamic Center of Arizona, we have a donation button right there. So go there, it's very simple. Just donate your $5 every Friday. If you have not done it before, do it. If you haven't done it throughout the mosques and all of that, here's your opportunity to keep donating for our masjid, because this is a place that needs your support constantly. And it is the same thing with the other mosques all over the world as well. Don't let this time stopping you from doing what is right and what is a must, in order for you to benefit out of it. And also the community to benefit as well. So everybody is a winner when you do that. You are a winner and everybody else is a winner in your community. Alright, so let's continue with the third point right here. Read Quran daily. Read Quran daily during the month of Ramadan. We know that according to hadith of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he used to recite Quran daily during the month of Ramadan. He used to finish, as a matter of fact, the whole Quran from the beginning all the way to the end during the month of Ramadan. Except the last year, when Jibril alayhi salam, the angel, was reciting to him, he used to read it twice, except that year. Otherwise, he would read the whole thing once. Now, let me mention to you, those who are from our community here or elsewhere as well, they want to follow us. We here at United Islamic Center of Arizona, even though we may not be able to gather here with the community and do Taraweeh prayers, it doesn't look like this Ramadan. God knows, but at least at the beginning it doesn't look like. Here's one thing that we're going to do. We're going to try to keep on daily basis a live recitation of the Quran, and people who want to join, they can do that as well, inshallah. Another thing is attend the Taraweeh prayers. Yes, attend the nightly Taraweeh prayers. Wait, but you just said that there is no Taraweeh prayers. Not in the mosque, but in your houses? Yes. In your working places? Yes. Wherever you are? Yes. There is Taraweeh prayers. Again, Taraweeh prayers are not mandatory, are not into that level of obligation. They are sunnah mu'akkada, emphasized sunnah. And it is emphasized that people all gather together. But since we don't have it during this Ramadan, what you can do is with your family members. You sit with your children, with your wife, or with your mother, with your father, or even if you're by yourself, and perform the Taraweeh prayers. I'm not going to get into the fiqh of Taraweeh at this time, or even the fiqh of fasting at this time, but I'm just saying that do the Taraweeh prayers regardless. I lost it now. I think it's probably number 5. Stay away from rumors, lies, and bad words. During this month, we stay away from all of these evil vices. Why? Because we're not going to gain the rewards of fasting. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam in a hadith, he says that من لم يدع قول الزور والعمل به والجهل فليس لله من حاجة أن يدع طعامه وشرابه. The person, and this is Sahih al-Bukhari from what I remember, the hadith is Sahih, the person who does not stop using a bad language, the person who does not stop cursing, and also work in evil, or be in a state of ignorance, act ignorantly, right? So use bad words, curse at the others, act ignorantly, then there is no need, he says. There is no need of God, his fast or her fast. He doesn't need his fast. So it's important, and I emphasize this because when we are all together all day long with, we don't have much work to do out there, there is always a chance for people to get more into backbiting and to, you know what I'm talking about. So stay away from doing all that kind of stuff. Another, the 6th point here would be invite relatives and friends for the meal before the dawn iftar or the meal after sunset, suhoor. So those who are very close to you and you know that, let's say they are in your house, you live with your parents and your wife and your kids and whatever the case may be, don't just eat by yourself, or don't eat only with your wife or only with the kids and then ignore the rest of the people, but get everybody together, especially if you live in large families, so everybody can eat together. And also this is very important too. This would be number 7. Restrain yourself from excessive use of technology. What does that mean? Now during this month of Ramadan, we're going to have, we're already all the time on our phones, on our computers, iPads, you name it, laptops. When Ramadan comes, join beneficial things out there through whether you use Facebook, YouTube, or whatever the case may be. Use it to gain rewards. Don't use it to waste your time or gain bad deeds. Use it to gain good deeds, in particular about Ramadan. So get ready with that idea and look out there. And here's one thing: look out there. What are certain organizations or your community? In this case, our community here, we're going to have daily lectures, daily Quran recitation, and so on. So look at this opportunity. And I know that it is hard to listen to the Imam talk about religion and spirituality for a lot of people. I know that is hard. I rather, there would be people say, I'd rather listen to news. I'd rather listen to a song. I would rather listen to a debate. I'd rather, listen or just watch a movie or do something that is entertaining. What we're doing here is not that entertaining, unfortunately. It is though entertaining for the hearts. That's for sure. But only those people who are looking for the spiritual entertainment are the ones who are really following this kind of stuff. Otherwise, the rest, they would be way more happy just to watch a movie out there. Young girls, young boys, hey man, I wish I can listen to, to a rap or to whatever, a song that is going to make my day kind of stuff. Or I'm looking forward to do something else, whatever the case may be. Stop all of that. Stop all of that during the month of Ramadan. Focus on, and I'm not saying you have to listen to these lectures in particularly, but I'm just saying, look out there for things that are going to boost your spirituality. And it's important that you pay attention right now instead of when Ramadan comes. Because when Ramadan comes, you will still not think too much. But right now, look at those organizations or look at those Facebook pages or those shuyukhs, those scholars, those imams, whoever you follow. Look and see, check their schedule. When are they going to talk? What are they going to talk about? So look into this and get ready. And say, you know what, I'm going to commit that every single day. I'm going to listen, for example, 20-minute speech by this sheikh. Or I'm going to listen to the Quran half an hour. And then another half an hour I'm going to recite myself. So commit yourself to utilizing the internet, the technology, for things that are positive and not things that are going to ruin your Ramadan, as a matter of fact. Okay, I believe we're at point 8 here. Add overall spiritual activities. What do I mean by spiritual activity? Isn't the internet going to help me with that? No, that's just a part of it. You need to do things that will boost your spirituality during this month. Okay, fasting, yes, for sure. Check. What else? Prayers, check. What else? Recitation of the Quran, that's another check right there. What else? Well, help the others. You know that during this month, there are so many other people who are in need. There's a lot of people who are old people. They cannot maybe do their grocery. Regardless, whether they're Muslims or no Muslims, don't worry about that. It's the same thing. You're going to get rewards no matter what. Everybody is a creation of God. So assist the creation of God. And let's say, for example, people who are poor, they don't have much food. You cook for them if you have the ability to do so. Send an iftar if you know that they're fasting. Even if they're not fasting, send them some food during the month of Ramadan as you're cooking. If there is a possibility of doing so. And there are so many other things that you can do during this month. So many things, the list goes on. I'm just giving you a few examples very quickly right here. Dealing with the others, helping the others, because it will boost the rewards. Helping the others, it boosts the rewards. This is one of the best things that you can do out there. Alright, and the last thing that I wanted to mention today, the last point right here, is be gracious and forgiven, and try to keep away the others from doing evil as well. I believe we're going to elaborate this point perhaps next week when we talk about other more spiritual stuff that are related to Ramadan and how we can boost our spirituality during that time. We're going to end it up here today. We ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewards every single one of you, accepts the fasting, accepts your prerequisites of fasting, like you getting ready before fasting, and makes you among those who are going to benefit the most out of this blessed month of Ramadan, even though we are in these hard circumstances. I keep repeating and repeating again, we are being tested. Every single person is being tested during this time. Out of this test, there are those who are going to come successful, and there are going to be those who are going to fail the test. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among those who will come successful out of this test. And عَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُ شَيْئًا وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. Perhaps it may be something that you don't like, but in reality, in it there might be something positive. And I observed so many positive things during this time of trial and test, and this may go on for some time. Allahu alam. God knows how this will turn out to be. But may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I also use the opportunity to pray for all of those who are nurses, for all of those who are doctors, for all of those who are helping the others who are stricken by this disease, and for all of those who are helping the others regardless whether they are sick or not sick. They're still helping other people who are in need out there, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward them tremendously. And I also find the opportunity to pray, Ya Rabbil Alameen, accept all of those who passed from the Ummah of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam out of this virus as shuhada, inshallah, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Forgive their shortcomings and admit them in paradise under the banner of your Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa barik ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad wa sallim tasliman kathira walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Until next time, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jum'ah Mubarakah. It was not stopping. Okay.